go, I think. So I'm going to hit that start button now. Let's get this show on the road. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to a different style of Final Fantasy chat. I am flying solo today. It's just me. Hopefully you guys will be able to engage with me, have lots of discussions. So I'm not just going to be talking to myself in an empty void. Thanks to everyone who's joined in already. 17 of you, that's great. Welcome to everyone who's in chat. Nobushin Gaming, Rachel Casterton, Resident Fantasy. Hi Matt, welcome. And Rachel, you're welcome. I think I said in a couple of comments, but you know, the Final Fantasy XII video I did with the everything that's changed, it's something I've actually been wanting to do for a little while now, but it took me like a month or two with everything else that was going on at E3. I actually started before E3, but everything that was going on, it just took me so long to pull it together. I had to try and dig up all the Ultimania stuff, and yeah, no, I'm really glad it's done so well. I'm really glad that everyone's been like receiving it so well, and I just really wanted to do it because I mean, personally as a fan, I don't really feel as though, I mean, even with I'm obviously a fan who's like really into the franchise, and when they announced it was International Zodiac Job System that was being remastered instead of Final Fantasy XII, I don't really feel as though Square put enough effort into telling people that, and also into kind of like with all the other remasters they've done, it's usually like, in most remasters they're basically the same game that's remastered. Now do a couple of tweaks and stuff, but with Final Fantasy XII it's quite different. It's just the story, the characters that are the same, obviously a lot of the equipment stuff, but there are a lot of changes between 12 remaster and the Zodiac Age. So if you haven't checked out the video, then do so. It's on the channel. Share it around if you haven't shared it already, if you haven't viewed it. But yeah, who's asked? Yeah, someone asked, where's Lauren? Lauren is having a social night. She's gone out with some of her friends, so I'm holding the fort. I'm going to do my best. I am going to do my best. So let's kick things off and just ask really basic question. How many of you guys are going to be getting Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age? I think that's hopefully a really straightforward question. And if you aren't getting it, why are you not going to be getting it? Because that's something I'm really curious about. Like, if you're not going to be picking up, why are you not going to be picking up? Is it just that you've played it before and don't really feel the need to play it again, despite the fact that everything's very different? Or you're just not interested? Like, just let me know why. If you aren't picking up, like, what's the reason for you not picking up? I'm Iandia, I think it is. I'm just interested in checking out again. I mean, it's been, what, like over 10 years since I last played Final Fantasy XII. I really want to refresh my memory because I didn't really have the best of experiences when I played Final Fantasy XII the first time. It was probably, I don't know, the first Final Fantasy game that I'd played since 7 that just didn't really resonate with me that well. So I'm most interested in just checking it out again to see if I feel the same way. I don't know if anyone else had the same experience as well, where Final Fantasy XII was just that first one where I just didn't really. I mean, I would say that like 10-2, I enjoyed 10-2, but it was the first one where I didn't like. But it was partially because I was starting university. I didn't quite have the time initially, but it took me a while to finish 10-2. Whereas all the ones before that, I just pretty much just like would sit down, not leave my room for about a week. And then my parents would complain at me. That's really good though that a lot of people are looking to pick it up. John Smith, yeah. So that rumor did, well, not necessarily rumor. The whole thing about Final Fantasy XII being an offline MMO, there is a degree of truth to that. I remember when I was playing Final Fantasy XI, and a lot of people were talking about Final Fantasy XII essentially being the offline version of Final Fantasy XI. There are some similarities in there, like the combat system. Okay, so Final Fantasy XI doesn't have the gambit system, but the way the ATB system is implemented in Final Fantasy XI is very similar to Final Fantasy XII. it's kind of like a pseudo turn-based system where like you don't obviously specify the commands. It's like an auto action thing, which is how Final Fantasy XI basically is. And yeah, like obviously with Final Fantasy XII, the worlds are massive. Like it takes so long to walk from places, which is why with the International Zodiac job system and now the Zodiac Age, they introduced the notion of the time skip. So like you can speed up the game by 2 times and by 4 times if you want to. It's to aid you in getting from A to B much quicker, and it's also to help with grinding, which you will probably have to do a lot. And to be honest, these days I really can't be bothered with grinding. Like when I know in my teenage years and I didn't really have anything else to worry about, grinding, I was okay with doing grinding. I didn't really bother that much, but these days it's one of the last things I really want to be doing with my time. What is my opinion of the story compared to 7, 8, and 9? As I said, when I first played Final Fantasy XII, I really didn't get on with the story. I don't know. I don't know if it's because I was younger and it didn't really click with, and it also was completely different to the stories that had come before with the franchise. So yeah, like it was a very political story. There was no real notion of a protagonist. They were all protagonists. So obviously, going into the game, I was expecting Vaughn to be the main character of the game. He had been pushed that way in all the promotional material. It was what Square Enix were intending, that people would think that Vaughn was the main character of the game. Based on everything that had come before, I was expecting there to be some kind of romantic relationship with Ash and Vaughn. And I remember one scene specifically, I think it's outside the Tomb of Wraithwall, where Ash and Vaughn have a kind of heart-to-heart, and I was like, oh my god, maybe this is where they're gonna kind of like some kind of connection's going to appear, and then basically they never speak to each other in the rest of the game. But no, I think it was like, it was just, there was a lot of stuff going on. Obviously Ivalice is also a pre-existing lore, which I had no idea about whatsoever. I hadn't played Tactics because it wasn't released in Europe. I didn't play Vagrant Story, and I had not played Tactics Advance at that point, which I think had been released, but I didn't have a Game Boy Advance. So yeah, the lore of Ivalice was completely lost on me. I didn't. It was basically like I was kind of playing a different game because there was so much that was different about Final Fantasy XII. Are you complaining about me saying spoilers or someone else saying spoilers? Did I say anything about the story? I don't remember saying anything about the story. Instead of the spoilers, I've been talking about the story, obviously. Raptor Rex. The combat is not really that hard to get used to. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's kind of like a basic programming language where it's like, if this happens, then do this. And obviously you can make the gambit system incredibly complicated, but it's not really too difficult to get it set up so that it's kind of autonomous in some way. So like you'll be like, obviously the simple one is just attack. You can get then your party members to attack your target. You can get them to attack the weakest. You can get them to cast Cure if a character's health goes below a certain threshold. You can get them to automatically cure, like get rid of status effects, or like as soon as they engage, make sure they cast Faith and Bravery. Like it's pretty straightforward. Again, you can make it pretty complicated if you want to, but you don't really need to progress. And I think with the way that they've done it with the Zodiac Age, obviously it's now has the job system in place. I mean, the game's pretty easy now, like from what I understand. Kato and I cannot remember the name of the other guy. They basically have been talking about the fact that they've tried to make the game as easy as possible, essentially. It's why they've made it so that now you can have two jobs instead of one job. So you basically, yeah, it's a lot more straightforward now. It doesn't really matter. I think it's as long as you are at the suitable level, you got decent equipment, and you have some kind of grasp over the gambit system, you're not going to be, it's not too complicated. Yeah, I mean, Jonathan Flum, you can make manual selections if you wish, But it's kind of like with Final Fantasy 13. Like, sure, you can take manual actions in Final Fantasy 13 as well, but do you really want to be doing that? Like, you're much better just letting the AI figure it out based on commands you give it. It's a lot more efficient use of time. I mean, most of the time, if you've got a decent setup, they're not going to be doing stupid things. And I think, from what I remember, you can always just pause and kind of just, yeah, if you need to make a manual action, you can just pause and do something like that. So, out of everyone who's in the cast of Final Fantasy XII, who are you guys' favorite characters? I've never really thought too much about the character that I like the most. I mean, I always felt really sorry for Penelo, because I don't know if many of you guys know this, but obviously with Final Fantasy XII, as with pretty much every single Final Fantasy game I'm finding out now, the story had massive rewrites. Obviously, Matsuno, the original director, who was kind of in charge of the story concept and the world and everything, Mr. Evilise himself, left the Final Fantasy XII partway through the development of it, and he was replaced by what's his name, Minagawa, I think. And Penelo, basically, she was supposed to have a larger role in the story, but I think they just kind of wrote her out to make it easier. Lots of Balthiers. No love for Bash. I think Vaughn is surprised. I think Vaughn's pretty popular in Japan. I don't really know why, but I mean, he was designed for a Japanese audience, so that would make sense. I guess they love his abs more than we do over here. Zell Brighthead. I don't have a list off the top of my head, but I know there are some new gambits that are available in the Zodiac Age. I don't think there's too many. There's maybe like 20 or 30 that are available, and I think they only become available at a certain point in the game. Kasim Rowe, you really like Wrestler. Wrestler. Too bad he doesn't stick around for too long. Yeah, I think that's the problem, Matt. Like, you know, Vaughn was obviously written in to kind of act as the central point. It's like, you know, you're supposed to be viewing things through his eyes. Also, it sounds very similar to another recent game. And yeah, like the result of it is that there is no real semblance of a main character. I mean, if you're looking at it, the main character could be Ash, it could be Balthier, it could be Bash as well. Like, it's up to you, really. I mean, Fran, you couldn't, like, I don't think Fran has ever been considered the main character, but Balthier's obviously got his thing about being the leading man. You know, from Bash's perspective, it's a whole redemption story. Ash is obviously looking to like gain control of everything and regain power of her kingdom, so that's like her angle. And Varna and Penelo are basically along for the ride. And hello RPG 78 Giova, sorry. The I looks like a singular for some reason. No Machine Gaming, what have I said? Why am I getting in 1 second? No, John Smith, they are all for the flavor. There's no silent protagonist in this game. Fully voice acted. I mean, many people consider it one of the best voice acted games in the franchise. And for the Zodiac Age, in case you're wondering, the voice acting, they haven't re-recorded or anything, but they are now using completely unsampled voice acting, so it'll be a much higher quality. Welcome, Paul. Welcome. Rachel, anything I'm not looking forward to in the Zodiac Age? This is going to sound really bad, but the music, I'm saying the music because Final Fantasy X 10.2 HD Remaster, they did a new soundtrack and it was really hit and miss. But I mean, Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age, it could be better. I mean, they've obviously reorchestrated a lot of it. There's some new music in there. I have to listen to it to see how it's going to turn out. One of my big bugbears around the original soundtrack for Final Fantasy XII was the orchestral samples that Sakamoto used. I really didn't like them, and I thought, like, it's just that kind of, I know, it was a Sakamoto vibe that his soundtracks often have. It's like a kind of, it's obviously sampled orchestra stuff. It's not live or anything in the original game, and I just didn't like a lot of the orchestral tracks that were in the original game sounded really good. So I mean, they may turn out pretty well. Lauren's fine. She's just having a night off. I'm holding the fort today. Maceo Terran. No, sorry, that's fine. It's fine. I actually did a video about it a couple of months ago, I think, in terms of, so yeah, I've always been very critical of Final Fantasy IX. I have been critical of Final Fantasy IX as well. I've always been very critical about Final Fantasy XII, and as I said, it just didn't resonate with me when I played it originally, and I'm really interested in playing it now because I really want to see if 10 years later the story resonates with me a lot better. Because yeah, like, maybe it was just too hyper out. I really don't know. I haven't played it since. I had no real desire to play it again. But obviously with them doing the remaster, that's fine. I mean, I'm happy to check it out again and see if I feel the same. Because yeah, like, I just didn't really get on with Final Fantasy XII. Like, that's the thing. Technically, Final Fantasy XII is a good game. Like, the combat system is very in depth. There's a lot of lore with regards to the game. You know, there are fleshed out characters. There's massive cities. There's expansive items. Like, it's an extremely detailed game and world. So many different items. Like, the combat system, everything. Technically, it's a good game, but it just didn't. It wasn't a game I wanted to play, if that makes sense. Like, I wasn't really too interested in the Ivalice games. I didn't play Vagrant Story. And it just was a bit of a shock compared to everything I'd seen before. So now, with all this hindsight and knowing a lot more about everything and stuff, I really just want to see if I feel the same way about Final Fantasy XII now that I'm obviously more mature, to see if, yeah, I understand the story a bit better, or like if I like the characters more. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Kaelin Rabanastra, welcome. I mean, to be honest, Final Fantasy XII soundtrack, I'm not going to shy away from it, is the soundtrack I like the least in the entire franchise. I think it's great as a soundtrack for the game, which is obviously its main purpose, but as anything more than that, it's just far too weak. It's far too weak. What is my favorite Final Fantasy? It's so hard. I know, it's weird because ever since we did a Final Fantasy IX retrospective podcast like a year ago, I think, and it made me feel like Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy IX has always been my least favorite of the four, like the four being 8, 7, 8, 9, 10. But like, looking back at Final Fantasy IX again, like, I don't know, maybe I was playing it I know I was playing it at a weird point in my life, but I feel like I gained a new appreciation for the game. But like, I'd always say at the moment, and for like, who knows, I may feel better about 12, but 7 is probably my favorite still. It's extremely cliche, I can't help it. But 10 is the one I've played the most in terms of like replaying the game. And I really like 10 because when you replay it, you get a whole new appreciation of the story because of the whole Albed thing and everything. And 8 is a game I've played the most in one single playthrough. And it's the one game where I've done everything that was possible to do. I haven't done that in any of the other Final Fantasy games. I'm not a massive completionist in that way. I don't really feel the need to do that stuff. I don't massively go after platinum trophies. I'm probably not going to go after the one for 12. Why is my favorite soundtrack Alessio? Oh, I don't know. I like mixtures of different ones. It's just that 12 had the stuff it was the one I liked the least. I really like the 7 soundtrack. I think it's got a lot of personality. While the 10 stuff is okay, it'd probably be a combination, like a mixture between 7 and 8 would be my favorite soundtracks. I really like 10-2's Piano Collection, but the actual soundtrack itself is not probably up to the same level as the other ones. There's bits of 13 that I like, but I'm not a massive fan of the 13 soundtrack, but I really do like the 13-2 soundtrack. Hey, yes, no worries, Caleb. '14 soundtrack everyone is really positive about, and it has like 20 billion tracks, so I mean, hopefully it's got enough to appeal to someone. I mean, the 11th track, MMOs are always a bit of a weird one because you have to listen to, like, I think it's a completely different mindset with MMOs because you're going to be listening to that music so much that if the music isn't kind of addictive in some way, then it isn't really serving its purpose. And I think Final Fantasy XI had the same kind of thing to Final Fantasy XIV. Like, they had to make music that you could listen to repeatedly without it getting fed up. And I think it was good that they mixed the composers on 11 as well, because like the original 11 soundtrack obviously had Uematsu, it had Mizuta, who went on to do the rest of the soundtracks, and then Tanioka. And I think it was good to get those different styles, and also the fact they gave different composers different kingdoms to kind of aid with that style as well. So, you know, obviously Uematsu-san did like Ronfor, and then Tanioka did like Gustaberg, and like Sector of Zitar is a great track. The airship theme. What is my favorite summon? I really liked Eden from Final Fantasy VIII because it just smashed people in the face. It took a massive amount of time to summon though. It was a real pain in the ass. To be honest, I've never really used summons that much. They're pretty useless in the grand scheme of things. The game where I've used summons the most is Final Fantasy X, because I just used to store them all up with limit breaks and then just spam bosses with them and hope that I won. So yeah, I mean, like with the Zodiac Age, getting back onto the Zodiac Age topic, what jobs is everyone looking forward to playing as? Obviously, you've got the classic jobs like White Mage, Black Mage, Red Mage, Monk, Knight, and then you've got kind of variations of that. So you've got like Bushi, which is like Samurai. You've got Shikari, which is kind of like a hunter. You've got Foe Breaker, which is essentially a warrior. And what else have you got? You've got I can't remember how many I said now. Time Mage, Machinist, Archer. Hey Lee Crawford, how's it going? Glad you could attend. If anyone's interested, I'm going to plug here. I'm actually working on a video right now that should hopefully be up tomorrow if we have time to edit it. If not, Tuesday, where I'm basically going to be doing a guide for the jobs. It's not going to be too in depth because there's no real right or wrong answer when it comes to the jobs in Final Fantasy XII. But just to give you an idea about what the job classes are, I've put in some loads of little tidbits about some of the naming conventions that Ito came up with and why he did for some of the more unorthodox job names. And yeah, it's just some suggestions around characters and stuff. And some fun facts, like the fact that Balthier is probably, from what I understand, the worst at using guns in the game. Don't know why they did that. Makes no real sense. But yeah, he has the slowest attack animations with guns, which I don't understand why they did that. So you guys asked me what my favorite soundtrack is. What is your what do you think is like the quintessential Final Fantasy soundtrack? I know that Nobuo Uematsu loves Final Fantasy 9. It's kind of his love child. I think he spent more time on 9 than any other game except 14, I think. And what do you guys think about the Final Fantasy 12 soundtrack? Are you kind of along with me, where it's like a really great incidental soundtrack? I think personally I think the Final Fantasy 12 soundtrack works great. Excuse me. I think it works great in game, but I genuinely, there are so few soundtracks, pieces of music on that soundtrack that I would listen to outside of the game, and it really bugs me. And I'm sorry about this, but it really bugs me that every single Distant Worlds track about Final Fantasy 12, and I even just saw it on Twitter, they're posting out saying it's the most like iconic track. The Eastern Dalmasca Sands or whatever it is. It's not like the best piece of music in 12. It really isn't. There are so many better pieces of music. Like Esper Battle is so much better. Destiny, the Liberation theme. See, it's great, Iffy. It's great incidental background music. You can listen to it underneath me, or it's the underscore for me talking about Final Fantasy 12 soundtrack. I mean, that's the thing. I do like some of the pieces of music in Final Fantasy 12. Like, I really like Heroic Village. I like Rabanastra. But, like, there are just so many other tracks that I just don't... They're just forgetful. The lady is having some time off tonight. So, yeah, I'm flying solo, holding the fort, talking about Final Fantasy 12. There's my 30-minute camera cue. I'll be back in a second, everyone. I think the thing about the Final Fantasy 12 soundtrack that maybe it's yeah, as K May has said, like it's the fact that there's not really any kind of hook or catch to a lot of the themes that Sakamoto composed. That there's not really like a strong melody that you can latch onto, and I think like that's one of the things that Uematsu did so well. Like a lot of the towns, places you go, the character themes. Like he managed to create these themes that like you can latch onto and remember, and like when you're like, I think that's why his music has such an emotional connection. Whereas with the Final Fantasy 12, it was like Sakamoto didn't really do that, and it was strange to me as well because like I've played Tactics Advance and I really like the soundtrack for Tactics Advance, and I was really disappointed that he didn't use the same kind of mindset with Final Fantasy 12, where it's like a lot of like some of the tracks, like so obviously Sakamoto didn't do the entire Final Fantasy 12 soundtrack. I can't remember the name of the other composers. I think no. Either way, one of the other guys, he did one. Like I just remember listening to it and it was like, okay, we're starting off here and then we're changing the time signature, we're changing the key, we're changing like it was like, I mean, I have studied music to a fair degree, and I remember just listening to it, just thinking like, if you are someone who doesn't really know that much about kind of classical music and all this stuff, then like it's just way too complicated. Like the Final Fantasy 12 soundtrack in I mean, there are quite a few instances where it's too complicated for its own good. Like it's very sophisticated, and it's just like I don't want to sound too like downbeat, but like it was too complicated, and I feel like the previous soundtracks that Uematsu had done, and even Hamwazu and all other people, like they're much simpler to understand, and then 12 just kind of just went way over the top, and let's do all these massive different themes, and like and we'll get away from doing like the leitmotifs where like you have the kind of the passage that follows characters through as you play the game, because I mean like that was also something else that bugged me with 12, the fact that, you know, obviously Nobuo Uematsu composed the main theme. What's it even called? Angela Aki did it. Why am I blanking on that? Anyway, the main theme for Final Fantasy 12, Angela Aki, Nobuo Uematsu. What is it called? It's gonna bug me now. Does anyone remember the name of the Final Fantasy 12 main theme? But it wasn't. There was no reference to it in the rest of the game, and like I just wasn't used to that happening, because obviously like Final Fantasy X, Sateki Donae plays like numerous times throughout Eyes on Me, like Melodies of Life. Like I just, yeah, it was musically it was a bit strange. Alan Nephew, you are referring to Junja Nakano. No, Junja Nakano did not work on Final Fantasy 12. He worked on Final Fantasy 10 though. Asad, you're not late. You're just in time. We're still talking. We're going to be around for a while. Don't worry. Still talking about Final Fantasy 12. At the moment, we seem to be talking a lot about the soundtrack and why I don't like it. Yes, kiss me goodbye, Alex. Well done. Why did I not remember that? That's shocking. Perhaps because it doesn't have any relation to the game. And there was also a symphonic poem. How can I remember that? Symphonic poem, which was another of the themes that was composed for Final Fantasy 12 as a kind of promotional thing. We have not discussed recommended classes, Assad, although I did ask people what jobs they were looking forward to trying out, which no one really seemed to say. And hi TPR, thank you. I'm glad that I'm someone's hero. Anyone who's listening, actually, there's 96 of you in here alongside TPR. If you don't know TPR, he's an amazing musician who does arrangements for Final Fantasy music. You've just seen him say something to me in the chat. Click on his profile, go listen to his music. He's just launched a new album. It's great. There's a great arrangement of Somnus on there, actually, which I think you'll enjoy. Go support him. Now, okay, so the Final Fantasy 12 Moogles, there are a lot of them. Do you prefer the Final Fantasy 12 Moogles to the Final Fantasy 9 Moogles? That's a question. That is the question. I think the Final Fantasy 9 Moogles look a bit cuter. Okay, we need more Final Fantasy 12 questions coming in. And also, while we're waiting around, can anyone, if you haven't liked the video, please like the video. Please like the video. Final Fantasy, actually, I really like Crystal Chronicles Moogles. For anyone who's played Crystal Chronicles, they had, like, the Moogles in Crystal Chronicles were basically just massive fat puffballs. And yeah, at the end of every level, you got a male Moogle who had his own little theme tune, which is obviously the Moogle theme. And Final Fantasy XIII didn't even have any Moogles. That's why no one liked them. It's the big whole thing about Final Fantasy 15 and its Moogles, because Final Fantasy 13 didn't have Moogles at all and no one cared. And you are welcome, TPR. You're welcome. What is your opinion on the Final Fantasy 12 soundtrack? Are you going to do a Final Fantasy 12 arrange album? That's the question. So yeah, Alan, nephew. So there are a couple of, so you got the classic classes like Black Mage, Red Mage, White Mage, but outside of that, there are some other ones. So you've got Ulan, which is essentially like a Lancer class, but well, they wanted to like do a dragoon, but obviously there's no jumping in Final Fantasy 12, so they came up with Ulan instead. So it's kind of like spears, polearms. They're the only class that can use the Zodiac Spear. Then you've got Shikari, which are essentially kind of like thief ninjas, so they use daggers and they use ninja weapons. Then you've got the Bushi, which are kind of mystical samurai, so they have kind of magic that is they can't use magic, but magic boosts up their damage. What else? We've got Time Mage, which is a big Evil East job class. So obviously they manipulate time and manipulate other things. What else? What are the other job classes that are new? That's like 5 I think I've just done. There's one more maybe. Oh, Foebreaker, which is essentially just a warrior from Final Fantasy XI. Warrior from Final Fantasy XI. What good minigames does Final Fantasy XII have? I don't actually remember any minigames. I mean, you've obviously got the marks, so you can hunt down marks, which is obviously something they replicated in Final Fantasy XIII. Messio, so yeah, I would recommend that you check out my video that will be coming up in the day or two. So yeah, I mean, sure, it sounds dumb that they came up with all these classes that no one knows anything about, but when you understand the reasons why he came up with them, hopefully it makes a bit more sense. And yeah, I've got Machinist and Archer. Ooh. The two classes that are essentially like created because of Balthair and Fran. What would I have changed anything else about Final Fantasy 12? If I was like teenage Daryl, then I would probably say please change the story. But I don't think that's the best thing to do in a remaster. Yeah. Afterwards, yes, I'm pretty sure from what I remember that the 12 remaster Zodiac Age does have you can switch between the English and the Japanese voice acting if you wish. And thanks, Asai. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. I said I spent quite a lot of time on doing that video, and although, so to me, a 20-minute video is a long video. It takes a long time for us to work on that with the limited time we have. And there were lots of people in the comments saying 20 minutes isn't a long video. You shouldn't say it's a long video. Blah blah blah. It's like, well, it is a long video for me. So yeah. Yeah, Qualter 18. It's we're kind of in that like rut, really, aren't we? Because it's like Sonic fans, right? So every single time like a Sonic game comes out, they're just like, well, if the next game isn't good, I'm not going to buy it anymore. But then the next game comes out and everyone buys it because it's a Sonic game and they love the franchise. But yeah. If I was the head of Square Enix PR, what is the one thing that you would do first? Right, you're talking about right now or just in general as a company? Because right now, well, the boat's probably already kind of been missed, but I would have announced Final Fantasy 16 already, and like, but only if I was sure that like I would have made sure, not necessarily PR, but like if I was higher up in the chain, I would have made them announce Final Fantasy 16, and I would have made sure it's coming out next year, because there's no other way that we're going to get momentum on the Final Fantasy franchise and start building up like a core group of fans, like the way that we had before, where like if you do a survey of like most Final Fantasy communities and you ask them, when did you get into the franchise? The majority of them are in that core grouping between like 7 and 10. And then since then we've had like pockets of fans that have come in. But like you've got to think that, you know, between 10 and 13, that was what, like 8 years. 8 years. And then between 13 and 15, that's another 8 years. Like 8 years. 16 years between 3 games. That is a significantly disparate fan base who will have completely different tastes. And that's how you end up in the situation where they kind of have, where like the older fans just look at some of the newer games and it's like, what the hell is this? I didn't sign up for this crap. But then you've got the newer fans coming into it and saying, what do you mean? Final Fantasy X, Y, Z is actually really good, but it's my first one, so I don't have any reference for the previous ones. Yeah, what would you guys do if you were in charge of Square Enix's PR right now? Tell them not to announce silly Final Fantasy 15 universe games. I don't know if anyone's seen, like, D23 right now is pretty much happening soon for Kingdom Hearts, right? She's arrived!
Hello!
You can sit off on the side of the camera.
Oh, okay. Where's my computer, by the way?
I put it downstairs for you to use if you wanted.
Okay.
Yeah, so with Kingdom Hearts, I don't know if anyone's seen, but you know during E3 they put out that trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3 during the opera, the world tour, the orchestra world tour. Everyone's really excited about it. They said during the trailer or after the trailer that they were, you know, everyone should be really excited. They're going to have more stuff at D23. There's going to be an extended trailer. Everyone's going to love it. There's going to be a new world. At the orchestral event that just happened in Japan as part of the world tour, Nomura's basically said, yeah, no, sorry, we didn't really mean to hype you up that much. You're probably not going to be that excited about what we're going to show at D23. Just, like, can you spread the word that you, like, please don't increase your expectation that much? Like, what kind of message does that send to everyone? Like, you're gonna love it, D23, it's gonna be amazing, Kingdom Hearts 3, woo! Oh, but please,
Don't be excited.
just don't, like, whatever you do, just don't get your expectations too high, because you're probably gonna be disappointed by what we're gonna show.
I don't get it whatsoever.
You missed the load, Lauren.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm looking. Lauren alert.
I've been complaining about the Final Fantasy XII soundtrack. I've been...
False Lauren alarm.
What else have I been doing?
Guys. Please excuse my look. I just had, like, fitness and yeah. Fitness.
Fitness. That's what we're going with.
Yeah, that's what we're going with. Fitness. Yeah.
You were doing exercise.
I was doing exercise.
Don't be shy about it.
Okay. I was doing pole. Yeah, I do pole fitness, and it's actually really great. Like, it's a lot of fun. If any of you have been, like, on the fence
I should move the... There we go.
If anyone's been on the fence about doing pole, like, pole fitness is fantastic. I've never felt better. But I mean, after that, I did go out for a drink. I had my first Pims.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
It was delicious. It was so good. Pims, I definitely
Am I going to
recommend.
have to, like, tag this live stream as containing paid promotion?
I know. Yeah, no, we are actually sanctioned by Wimbledon.
So Babon, what's up with the Final Fantasy 15 survey? The Final Fantasy 15 survey has been absolutely amazing. When we put the video out, as I said, like, I was expecting a couple of hundred tops. Like, I mean, we've got 30,000 subscribers almost, but, you know, I wasn't too sure how many people would actually watch the video, how many people would do the survey. We're at well over 2,000 now.
I know that it's so fantastic, and Daryl's been so happy about it. Like, he keeps coming in and it's just like, oh my god, we've got more people! And I'm just
that
like,
first day after the survey, we woke up and there was like 600-700 people that had done it, and it was just like, whoa, What the hell happened there?
And then when it jumped up to like 2,000.
I'm probably going to shut the survey soon because
Yeah.
I don't really feel like I'm going to learn anything more from
No.
more people joining it.
No, it is the funny thing that you kind of learn about it is that like there is a point where it just kind of stagnates. Isn't it?
Because like I think after I got to like maybe 1,000, 1,500, everyone was pretty much just following the same trends, and it was just narrowing those trends down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I haven't really delved too much into the data so far, but one of the interesting things I've seen to date is that everyone hates the story.
Yeah.
Everyone hates the story. Lauren, it says you're here. Do you want to put a link to the survey?
Yeah, I will put a link to the survey.
Put a link to that survey.
I take that challenge.
Any surprising results?
Oh, talk about the. Well, no, wait. Like, I mean, we don't really want to. We don't want to spoil the results, really. Like, that would be. Yeah, that would take the whole video away.
I'm looking to put the results up either next week, like the coming weekend, or the weekend after. I want to do it before Square Enix do their ones.
Yeah. Before they could steal our ideas.
It'll be interesting to see if our results mirror what they're going to come up with during their active time report.
There you go. I've sent a link to the survey so you can enjoy.
This is not an official survey. It's our own personal survey. Yeah, it's not the official
survey. It is a fan survey. I don't want to spoil.
Spoil what?
The results.
Oh.
We don't want to.
Well, you would. You love spoilers.
I know, I do love spoilers. That's a lie.
I've got to give you something to look forward to.
Hi, Lime. I'll notice you. Hello. I do love Agni's philosophy, though. But something tells me that won't be...
I genuinely hope that it's Tabata's new game.
That won't be 16. That won't be 16.
It's going to be amazing. Is the unannounced expansion the other VR? I think the Monsters of the Deep probably was the unannounced expansion. But you never know. I mean, Tabata on the
well,
last
they did say that they're working on something else,
Yeah. And they're going to talk about stuff at Gamescom.
Oh, thank you. I didn't get a haircut. I just styled it differently. It's called curling iron. It's lovely. It's full of fluff. Even after pull.
Style tips from Lauren.
Style tips from Lauren. This is turning to
Lauren. That's why everyone tunes into our chat to get style tips on their hair.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Because most of the time my hair looks like poop. So this
is
Lauren, like an after.
Since you've missed all the stuff, what do you think of the Final Fantasy XII soundtrack?
Not that memorable.
What's your favorite Final Fantasy? Which we get asked a lot.
Final Fantasy X. Or 9.
What's your favorite soundtrack?
Final Fantasy VIII.
So look at this quick fire. I can't do this. To be honest, although if I had a gun to my head, I probably would pick something. But then I don't know if it's I don't know if it's subconsciously I would be picking the stuff I actually want to pick. Because Final Fantasy VII is so ingrained. I just feel like if anyone asks what's your favorite Final Fantasy game, I'd just say Final Fantasy VII.
I will say my favorites do change quite a bit, but generally like they're within the top 3. Like I really for the longest time Final Fantasy VIII was my favorite game, like hands down. But like after replaying it, I've just been like, you know what? I just really UCIEDU? No.
Nope.
No, it doesn't have that.
It's a Google link.
It's a Google link. It should be to a Google link. But yeah, so like I mean, I think for me personally, how I think about it, I think Final Fantasy IX is closest to the perfect Final Fantasy that we get. But in terms of the game that I love to play the most, Final Fantasy X is it, hands down.
It's true. I am supposed to give long rambling answers.
Oh, good job.
Thank you.
Although most of the time it's me doing that and Daryl going,
yep, wrap it up. Come on.
Shut up, Lauren. Shut up.
What are you trying to say? Why are you saying it?
I don't know. And most of the time I do forget what I'm saying. Because I just get into a long tangent. It's really hard.
I would say the Final Fantasy VIII soundtrack is the first I owned.
Final Fantasy VIII is my favorite soundtrack. I just can't, like, I just love it. I love Final Fantasy VIII soundtrack. But then I also like bits of like bits of 10 I really do love. Like Seymour Battle is like my super, and Someday the Dream Will End.
But I thought you liked the extreme
ending theme. I do love the extreme. Well, that's why Final Fantasy VIII is my favorite. Because you have Maybe I'm a Lion, the extreme, the successor.
Force
you have
Your Way.
Force Your Way. You have freaking, like, is that the Laguna one? That's not the Laguna one. Man with the Machine Gun. Like, you just name a bunch of freaking tunes. Love Grows. Like,
and yes,
so
on
many.
the survey, I chose purposely not to enable you to skip that question because you will have an opinion.
Can you do a Daryl is Born sound effect?
We can do the we're just still sounds from RuPaul.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm bored. It's just that we usually have we have very limited windows when we can record the podcast.
Yeah, we
and
do.
It's usually that I'm trying to speed things along a little bit because we've got other things we need to talk about.
And also because like sometimes we do get on a massive tangent.
We do. This episode
we do get on a tangent. It's
coming out on Tuesday.
But it is quite a concise tangent, to be fair. Like we
kept on the main topic. It's just that we deviated around the topic. You don't have to do the free post-launch free updates, no, but you will have an opinion on which one you would like, or you liked the most, or you liked the idea of the most. You will have an opinion.
The episode Iggy trailer makes me so sad. My poor Ignis.
I wish they'd shown more in it, though. I know it's the teaser, and that's kind of the point, but...
Yeah, well, you know, at least they showed, like, a little bit more than they did with the Prompto one.
Well, the Prompto one,
the Prompto one was literally him with the gun.
But, like, the Ignis one, what question did it ask? No, there wasn't anything.
It was just sad. Well, no, my question is continuity. Like, when does Ignis's glasses break? When do Ignis's glasses break? Because he has them for the rest of the game.
Well, he probably has more than one pair.
Well, he gets really upset when the Black Chocobo steals his only spectacles.
That's true.
So I don't know. Succession of Witches is awesome, but I'm more so talking about well, I'm sure you're probably talking about just your favorite, but like Successor is the one that happens at the end of the game, where Squall is reliving his, like, seeing his past self, talking with Matron.
Does anyone else moving away from that back to, because people are talking about episode Ignis, does anyone else think it's really bad that episode Ignis is coming out in December, which is more than 12 months on, and that
I'm sorry about the spoiler alert. Sorry.
For what?
It's spoiler vomit.
What's spoiler alert?
Ignis. The whole Ignis story is just a spoiler.
Don't do spoilers.
I know.
Wait, what did you...
I don't know. I said about his glasses.
His glasses get broken.
Yeah. That doesn't really spoil that much, to be fair.
They get taken by a chocobo.
And if you watch the teaser, like, obviously you've already spoiled it for yourself as well.
But there could be people here that haven't watched the teaser, Lauren.
It's true. I'm sorry. I'll just stop talking.
Oh, dear. That is the most important question in the entire story. When do his glasses break?
Yes.
I don't need to know anything else. I just that.
But yeah, Man with the Machine Gun is epic. Like, the Black Mage's version of it as well is just so stellar.
No, I think they just need more time to work on it. But it makes me really wonder when Comrades is going to come out.
I know. It seems like they forgot about it.
Like, it's going to be that the season pass is now a year and a half for a season pass? That's crazy.
I almost feel like they just shouldn't. I feel like they should just cancel it. But
well,
there again, they
They've
can't
already
because
made
of the
people
season
pay
pass.
for it.
I know. It's true. But yeah, no, the Successor is gorgeous. I love the Successor.
Oh, I think we might need to wrap it up, Lawrence.
We need to wrap it up.
Well, we're getting on to almost 10 o'clock.
We are.
It's getting late.
I have to go to bed.
Yeah.
I need my naps.
So, has anyone got any final burning questions about Final Fantasy XII? For those who have weren't here at the beginning, final question: how many of you guys are looking to pick up the Zodiac Age this week? Lauren is very much looking forward to playing it.
I'm looking forward to playing it. I really want to give it another chance. And yeah. And I really love Balthier, and I really love Brandt's design.
Anything else?
Yeah. Nothing. To be honest, at this point, I just imagine that Tabata just sits in his house all day and cries because of how many people he's killed in his stories.
Say nothing more than that.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't technically a spoiler. Every Final Fantasy game has people die. You didn't say who dies.
No, it's true. It's a Type 0 one. Type 0.
What? Why did you need to say a game? What is wrong with you?
I just need a spoiler tag just on me. Just on my face. Whenever Lauren enters, she is just a spoiler. It's the Pims talking, it's not me. Oh, bless Tabata.
Tabata just needs some sleep.
He does.
But he doesn't want to sleep.
No. I wonder, I wish that Square Enix would do, an average day of a Final Fantasy director. How crazy it would be.
Well,
especially Nomura. I would love to just follow Nomura for a day just to see what he does.
I just people say that they're amazed at how much we're able to get done, but the fact that Tabata's got a wife and kids.
I'm sorry about the spoiler.
Right?
Yeah.
Tabata's got a wife and kids, and he has 3 hours
because he has this little girl who we talked about.
Who got depressed because he was working too much on 15.
No. But no, I honestly am excited for the Zodiac Age. I think the characters in Final Fantasy XII are. I've always been a bit sad that I've missed out on it, and it's the same way I feel about Final Fantasy XI. I wish I got to know Shantoto and stuff in Final Fantasy XI, but I honestly will never have the chance to do that now. I'll never have the chance to do that aside from the tribute games, and but Zodiac Age, at least it's a second chance to.
Well, they are making a mobile version of Final Fantasy XI.
They are. It's true.
Don't know what's happened to it.
No.
Oh, that's our cue to go, I think.
Yeah. Oh, Yoshida. Yoshida's such a fashionable boy. I love the fact that he cosplays at the events, though. I think it's a very nice touch.
Oh, right. Okay, so before we head off, Lauren, link to the Patreon. So we are at the moment, to celebrate the fact we have passed 28,000 subscribers, we are doing a giveaway. So for the general public, be sure to check out our giveaway video. We're going to give away one of these, which is a Deus Ex arm sleeve, augmentation arm sleeve.
Yeah, it makes you feel like
you've had an augment on your arm.
Yeah, for a day or two.
And for Patreon backers, of which there are some in this chat right here, we're giving away these things. They're like Final Fantasy 13 Part 2 folder things. Focus. So there's some artwork inside them. It's really glossy and lovely.
Yeah, and the artwork inside is really, really cool.
So yeah, if you want to enter the draw to win, we're giving away 2 of those. If you want to enter the draw, then hit that Patreon link, support us. It doesn't have to be a massive support. You can just do $1 per week, essentially. And yeah, anything else you want to add to that? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. We have some other videos in the pipeline. And
I've committed you to doing the Final Fantasy XII job video tomorrow.
Okay. Do that. I can do that. Bye, everyone.
Bushwalker, we probably won't be doing live streaming for the game because we have very limited time.
Yeah, no, and this week, I have even less time because I just have massive amount of stuff to do. But as much as I would love to, probably not going to happen.
No. And before everyone leaves, please hit that like button. Please hit the like button on the video.
Hit the like button down below.
Hit that like button.
And subscribe to us if you haven't already.
I really hope you guys enjoy Final Fantasy XII. As I said, we're going to be doing quite a bit of coverage about it. So we've got a job guide, hopefully going up tomorrow. And then we're going to be putting up some other stuff over the next week or two about the game to kind of help you get better weapons and get better armor and all this stuff. So hopefully you guys look forward to that. We'll see if Square Enix do anything crazy that gets in the way of all that stuff. But yeah, hopefully you guys have a good evening or rest of the day if you're in an earlier
Foreign
time
land.
zone. And yeah, like if you're getting Zodiac Age this week, play the crap out of it. We hope you really enjoy it, and we'll catch up with you guys in the live stream next Sunday.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Mwah.
Where am I going? There we go.
I don't know.